This program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln and online at merealty.com.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viewpoint on 96.3 FM WLCN. I'm your host, Dara Entwistle. Due to scheduling, we are recording this today, July 2nd, 2026. Before we begin, we want to wish our deepest sympathies with Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch and his family. Tracy wanted to be on today with us, but his father passed away, and so therefore he is with family right now. So our deepest sympathies are with you, Mayor Welch, and your family. This morning, we're going to be discussing public safety technology and separating the myths and the facts and get down to the nitty-gritty of it, and use this as an education piece of how our local communities is using technology, whether it be flock safety or something else. With us, joining us today, we do have the City of Lincoln Police Chief, the City of Clinton's Police Chief, Ben Lowers. We have the City of Lincoln's Police Chief, Joe Meister. Thank you. And then we have Representative Paris, and forgive me for pronouncing your last name, Lewbel? Lewbel. Okay, thank you. So thank you very much for joining us. I'll start off with Ben, Chief Lowers. Clinton has signed a contract with Flock. I know there's been some misconceptions or whatnot, so let's start off with you addressing this. So
yeah, there has been, but I think that's common, and I'll let Paris speak on that a little more. I don't think that what we're experiencing is all that uncommon. And a lot of times I think it's a lack of information or a lack of understanding of what the flock camera's capabilities are. It's a tremendous investigative tool for us. It's something that we have been using really for the last couple of years. While we have not had flock cameras deployed right here in Clinton or in DeWitt County, it is a program or a system, a resource that we've been using regionally and nationwide. Flock cameras have come into great use for us in various investigations over the recent months and years. And so we are just now getting them deployed, and actually we have not utilized our own cameras yet. They're just being erected as we speak, and gone live. So we've not necessarily had the opportunity to use our own cameras, but they've provided a significant resource in some significant cases that we have had in recent times. And so we're anxious to get them up and going. We think that there will be a great asset to our investigations and our patrol division. And so, times that we have utilized them and that they have been a great benefit to us, but we also recognize times that we wish that we would have had them to help clear cases. And so, so we're anxious to get going. Like I said, it's a contract that we signed back in early April. We're just now going through the whole process and whatnot. Just myself and my second in command are the only two that have access to them at this time. And before we deploy that out to the department, of course, we'll have training and going over our policy and their use and things of that nature before we get full blown involved in them.
Right. Joe Meister, what does Lincoln use? Do they use Flock, or are they looking at Flock, or is it a different technology possibly? What does the City of Lincoln use?
So in the past, we have researched Flock. We haven't made the commitment to sign a contract and have them installed in the City of Lincoln at this time, but we do utilize other technology. A couple of years ago, we started investing in what we call the Downtown Safety Initiative. Really, it's blossomed more into a citywide safety initiative where we've installed analytical cameras in certain locations around the city that assist us in investigations. we've used them on multiple occasions to investigate and solve incidents of battery, such as fights in the downtown area, burglaries, and other general crime. Um, so that's the program that we've invested in so far. And in the future, I do I do have an interest in investing in flock safety as well. It's just not something that we've budgeted for right now. Hasn't been a priority. The camera system that we have now is extremely capable. The only capability it does not possess is the license plate reading capability.
So kind of before we dive into the nitty gritty of what Flock does and everything, let me just put a general question out there. When some people have the Ring camera on their houses, etc., and you see people on social media, hey, check your cameras, so and so was in my yard or whatever, this has happened in my neighborhood. So is it somewhat similar? What's the difference? Because I know people are somewhat complaining, going, we've got cameras now watching us, when in fact people themselves are using cameras at their homes or businesses as well. So whoever wants to answer that one in general before we dive into nitty gritty there.
Yeah, and I'll address that first, I guess. The difference is, well, first and foremost, you cannot go very far in today's society and not be captured on camera, whether it be a residential surveillance system, a business, things of that nature.
Or people in a vehicle, have the dash cams too, driving.
Or in a vehicle as well. I think the difference, I think the concern is that, when it's deployed by a government entity, then it's an invasion of privacy, in some people's perception. And again, I'll let Paris address that here shortly. But as far as Clinton, we do have, so we have deployed 6 cameras. Basically at all of our main entrances, state highway entrances and exits to town. And we are utilizing the license plate recognition. Okay. And so that is really the bigger tool to us. And again, I'll divert to Paris on this, but that license plate recognition is capturing just a moment in time image. It's not surveillance. It is not tracking someone. It's not following them. But I think when it comes to the public perception and the concern there is that this, different than residential cameras and things of that nature, that this is the government spying on them is virtually, I think, the perception that some have. And so again, when we get to it, I'll let Paris explain that how that is not necessarily the case. And so we'll go from there.
Sure. And I will tattle on myself. I was going to a livestock show and did not have cattle in the trailer, but I had tack. And after the show, about 2 weeks later, I got a speeding ticket in the mail. So, and it was in Iowa. And so Paris, I can ask you this, is Flock capable for speeds for doing that or not?
It
or
is
in
not.
different
The Flock system
type?
doesn't do speed recording at all. We don't have that functionality in our system. The Flock LPR cameras are really used to help law enforcement investigate and solve crimes. Things like stolen vehicles, burglaries, assaults, missing persons, and other serious crimes. A number of different crimes committed across the United States every day are committed with a vehicle. There is the suspect either was in a vehicle at the time of the crime or used it to get away from the incident at the time. So there is that vehicle evidence that's important to law enforcement as they're conducting their investigation into the incident to figure out what vehicle was used and that information. The cameras themselves are purpose-built to take pictures of vehicles on public roadways, and they capture the license plates and key identifying details like the make, the color, and unique features. And why that feature is important is when there's a victim or a witness to a crime, they're not often capturing the license plate. They're capturing, or they see this was a white SUV. So law enforcement can go into the system as they're responding and investigating a crime, look for those key identifying details like a white SUV and then the specific time frames and location, and be able to narrow in on that one suspect vehicle that was in the area during that time and then be able to further their investigation. The system itself is not connected to any personal identifying information. So again, the cameras just take a picture of the vehicle traveling in public view. We don't know in the system who's driving that vehicle, who that vehicle is registered to, or really any, again, personal identifying information about that vehicle. Law enforcement has to use separate databases that they have to be able to find out that information.
So an example, an Amber Alert, or, for an elder, alert, someone, is missing, obviously, go back and search and speed up the process to bring somebody home safely, correct, then?
Absolutely. In 2025, we, through Flock technology, there were more than 10,000 missing persons that were located because law enforcement had access to Flock. That's more than 27 people per day. And so we're seeing that technology being used to reunite people with their families. And then again, assist in Amber Alerts. So as soon as there's an Amber Alert put out, we're connected to the NCMEC database, the National Center for Missing and Endangered Children. And law enforcement can get an immediate alert on their cell phones or their in-car computers as soon as a vehicle connected to that Amber Alert passes by one of the cameras.
So, and Chief Meister, how having Clinton, neighboring town, how can that also help aid right now, since Lincoln doesn't have Flock yet? Is this a good tool that can possibly help you out, and your force?
Absolutely, and it has already, as Chief Lowers alluded to earlier. Many agencies that may not have invested in Flock personally, it doesn't mean that we still don't have connections to use that data. We do through our task force officers who are assigned to multi-jurisdictional task forces focused on investigating major crimes. They have access to the Flock systems. We've used them successfully on many occasions in different investigations. So the more the better, I guess, to answer your question. Having them so close to Lincoln, over there in DeWitt County and Clinton, is absolutely going to be beneficial.
We'll be back with more Viewpoint right after this. Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com.
Culver's is a family restaurant. To me, that means being the place that puts a smile on everyone's face. We're famous for our cooked-to-order butter burgers and frozen custard made daily inside our restaurants. But we've always believed more menu options mean more ways to brighten your day. We source the finest chicken to bring you our tenders and chicken sandwiches. And our cheese curds. They're a Wisconsin tradition we're proud to share with you. So take the next meal shift off and let us take care of you. Welcome to Delicious.
Culver's, home of the Butterburger, 2530 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln.
In today's automotive environment, there's a lot of uncertainty about who will be around next week, next month, or next year. One thing's for sure, Grau Chevrolet will be here to service your automotive needs. The service department and staff are not only factory trained, but you've come to know as part of the community. They'll gladly perform a visual inspection of your vehicle and let you know what needs to be done now or can wait until later. Trust your automotive investment to the people you know and trust at Grau Chevrolet. Call or stop by Grau right now.
It's Grau right now.
This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln and online at merealty.com.
Shop local.
Shop local. Shop local.
We've all heard the messages, shop local. But if you're a local business, do you advertise local? We're WLCN, your local FM radio station, and all those reasons for shopping local, like contributing to the local economy and working with local individuals who live, work, and spend right here, those same things apply to WLCN. We're the radio station publicizing upcoming fundraisers for local community groups, interviewing local individuals about local issues on locally produced programs, and offering live video streams of local events. But the only way we can provide such programming is through advertiser support. So before you hop online to catch the latest trend and deal with folks based in who knows where, find out what WLCN can do for you. Email us at advertise@wlcnonline.com or call 217-648-5510 to learn more. Support the local economy. Be sure to shop local. And if your business wants to reach a local audience, be sure to advertise local.
What is the privacy issues, safeguards, if you may, what someone or an entity using the flock system, what you are governed by, what rules are in place, I guess you could say.
I'll let Paris talk about, the flock system in general, but in terms of from the Clinton Police Department, obviously, I think any department that utilizes the flock system or any type of surveillance system or LPR, as we're using, is governed by department policy. But also, as Paris mentioned, this is just capturing a moment in time image of a vehicle, on a public roadway. We have to then use further resources like our leads and NCIC databases to then run a license plate or something to get the information of who that vehicle actually ties to. Here at the Clinton Police Department, I believe it all. We're not just monitoring this. It's actually a specific inquiry, and we have to tie a crime or, some type of a citizen complaint, some type of an investigation to each inquiry that we make. And so that is all governed by our department policy.
So basically the myth, people think that, somebody's going to be sitting there looking at the camera
Right.
going, oh, their tag is expired, or they
Right.
were, improper lane usage, whatever it may be. You're not going to have an office there 24/7, combing through it. So
That's correct. And as Paris mentioned, I mean, that there is no personal identifying factors with the flock image. It is literally just an image of a vehicle and of a license plate that's provided to us. So, back to some of the things that have already been mentioned, the missing persons. I mean, we have utilized Flock while we didn't have our own cameras. By utilizing the Flock system, we have located 2 or maybe 3 people now just in the last several months, whether it be a missing person, a mental health crisis, something of that nature, that we were able to utilize the Flock system to get a general area, knowing that that person was traveling in a vehicle, and this is the registration number of the vehicle they're traveling in, to be able to basically put out an alert, put out an inquiry, and narrow down an area where that person might be, and deploy then resources and officers to that area to locate them, and we've located them safely. So, while we haven't had it ourselves until just now, it's something that we've utilized. We've utilized it through various investigations, things of that nature. So it's been a huge tool for us. But again, each inquiry that we do is specific to a specific case that we're working on.
wonderful.
It's not just 24/7 monitoring of all the vehicles that are passing this camera.
Yeah, and I'll add on the chief. I'd say, a majority of the images captured are never seen by a human being. Law enforcement uses this software again when they're investigating a crime and specifically have vehicle information. A majority of again, those images are deleted after the 30-day default retention policy.
Okay, so there is some compliance there within Flock then.
That's correct. And we build our technology really to work with local law enforcement and then also any regulations at the state level as well. So specifically in Illinois, there's an attestation that the system cannot be used for things like immigration enforcement. So people using the system have to log in, and then any data that's shared with agencies in other states, they have to attest that they will not use the technology for that. And then we also build those safeguards right into the platform to make sure that they can't be used in those abilities. And it's really up to the department at the end of the day to determine if they share their data. Departments can share their data on a one-to-one basis. So maybe neighboring cities or their local sheriff's department, they can share on a regional basis. And then they can also share on the statewide or nationwide networks. But again, crime doesn't know borders. So some of the sharing allows law enforcement as they're conducting investigations to be able to use the network to be able to search for things that are happening. Again, if you take like an abducted child, for instance, they're not just staying in one city. Law enforcement through the system can be able to share. But again, all of those decisions on how they share, if they share, what they share are all made by the decision. Are made by the agency. We leave all those decisions to the agency themselves.
Paris, what other myths is Flock combating right now that besides what we've discussed?
Yeah, I think one of the things we see out there is there's a myth out there that Flock is tracking your movements everywhere you go. It's just simply not true. Again, the system itself takes a point in time image of that vehicle passing by the camera. We don't know, did that vehicle turn left? Did it turn right? Did it stop somewhere? There's no ability to know that in the system at all, again, because it's just taking that point in time image of the vehicle. And then we're also not connected to any personal identifying information. So we don't know who that vehicle is registered to. We don't know specifically who's driving that vehicle at any given time. And this also has been challenged in court a number of times. And more than 30 courts across the country, both at the local level and the federal level, have determined that Flock is not capable of tracking a whole of anyone's movements.
So I do have a question. Let's say there's a robbery in Lincoln and they, Chief Meister, they put, so forget, APB, whatever, and let everybody know, hey, we're tracking this Ford pickup truck, possible plates, make, model. Is the Flock capability able to then, is Chief Flowers and able to kind of put that information in there to say, to alert go off then if it's, if that's pursued or not, or is it just basically on the recording side of it too? Because, it's an active going on right now, live situation as well.
Yeah, so I can just play this through as an example, just like you said. So for a robbery, maybe they get a vehicle description. I'll use white SUV again. Law enforcement go into the system and determine that one license plate that was involved in the actual incident itself. They can then add that to what we call a hot list. So as soon as that vehicle passes by a camera, the local law enforcement agency is going to be able to get an alert and determine where that vehicle is and send officers to the scene. This has actually the Flock technology has really made policing more precise. In the past, law enforcement would go to a location like a robbery and they would put out a be on the lookout Mabolo for a white SUV. And law enforcement would start looking for every white SUV in the area, potentially making traffic stops, seeing if that suspect was the actual suspect in the case. Now they can go into the Flock system, put white SUV, again, that time frame, the location, and single in on that one specific vehicle. So that helps them further their investigation. And again, making policing more precise and really being able to focus on the one vehicle that was involved in the incident.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'd like to add, just to bring constitutionality up into the conversation. We got to remember that on public roadways, as citizens, we don't have an expectation of privacy. I would equate a Flock camera on an intersection of public roadways to stationing an officer at an intersection on public roadways. A police officer could stand at that intersection, take photographs of every vehicle that went by and record every license plate that went by. This just replaces that human aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Constitutionally, I think, as Paris identified, multiple courts have found that this is not invasion of a citizen's privacy.
I agree, and I appreciate you. That's why I wanted to bring up, an active, situation going on, whether it be armed burglary, it could be a kidnapping of, or, like I said, even an ambulance, the Amber Alert. And because as we know, they're posting that license plate and vehicle description and to be on the lookout. So it's almost the same thing, correct? When you say, hey, be on the lookout for this, correct?
Yeah, we're just utilizing supplemental technology in the place of actual boots on the ground.
Right. Paris, is there anything else you want to add or any?
Yeah, I think the thing to add is this has really just become a game changer for law enforcement. We're seeing cases being solved quicker, law enforcement, again, being more precise in their policing. And, in 2025, the numbers are pretty astounding. We assisted in more than 1 million criminal investigations in 2025. And then in communities where Flock is deployed, an estimated 20% of all cases that they had were solved in part with Flock technology.
Wonderful. Well, Chief Meister, Chief Lawler, is there anything you want to add in closing or needs to be addressed with the community?
No, I'll just echo what's already been said. Just the tremendous resource that this offers us, and a step towards clearing investigations. As we sit here in Clinton, as what I always consider as a hub of Central Illinois, surrounded by Bloomington, Champaign, Decatur, Springfield, and Lincoln. All of which, other than Lincoln, that are currently utilizing LPRs or the Flock system, and so we have been utilizing it. What was previously mentioned, when we just have maybe just that vehicle description, a black SUV. We can then search our database for black SUVs and perhaps narrow that down to just a couple and hopefully be able to narrow it down to one. Then utilizing other resources, be able to run that license plate and whatnot, and maybe be able to track that vehicle that was used in a crime to an individual or suspects that we can then just takes us one step further and as Paris said, that much more precise in our investigation. So we're really excited about the opportunity to be able to use it here locally, and also to be able to share it with our law enforcement partners whom we've been utilizing their systems for quite some time. So very excited to have it on board and think that it's going to be a tremendous asset to our crime solving.
Well, Chief Meister, anything for closing? Not to put you on the spot. Sorry about that. So
that's fine. Like I said, each jurisdiction has to prioritize what they budget for based on their current need. Flock is something that the city of Lincoln, the Lincoln Police Department, is going to explore in future fiscal years. It just hasn't been something that we needed to focus on yet. So we look forward to partnering with Flock and all the other agencies that are utilizing their technology in the future.
Wonderful. Paris, you have anything in closing?
I think this technology and being that game changer and being able to solve cases is really, having an impact for community safety. We believe at Flock that safety is a fundamental right. And this technology is really helping communities be safer and, again, supporting law enforcement in being able to solve cases and bring victims justice.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. I greatly appreciate you being on Viewpoint and addressing these issues and keeping our community safe. And as I said, folks, this is being recorded on July 2nd. So wishing all of you an early, safe, and enjoyable July 4th weekend.
This program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com.